again. All right. So solid red to solid black. Okay. Does anyone remember what happens when you do, say we were doing yellow going to black? Do you guys remember what yellow turns into when you add black to it? Huh? What's that? What color?
Like a greenish?
Yeah, like a greenish. So be aware of that. Do you guys remember what happens when you add black to orange?
Brown?
Yeah, you get those dookie browns, right? So keep that in mind. All right, so go ahead and put that solid color, whether you're using red or a different color. And I'm gonna take it halfway across. And if you go past halfway, that's fine. Okay. So remember last class I said when you use acrylic paint, it always dries slightly darker than how you see it coming out of the tube or coming or being on your palette. Okay, so always be a little darker when it dries. Watercolor is the opposite, it always dries a little lighter. The only paint that will dry the way you see it when you're mixing it is oil paint. Okay, oil paint is the only color or only paint that will look the same. Okay, all right. So we're there, solid red, right? I'm gonna now make red with some black in it. So I should have more red than black. So a tiny drop of black mixed in with the red. It's almost gonna look a little burgundy. Okay, I'm gonna put it here in the center. And it's also gonna mix in a bit. So I need to make more. All right. So I'm at a point where this line needs to start getting, I need to start getting rid of this line. So both the red and the darker red should still be wet. I'm gonna rinse my paintbrush. And remember, I'm gonna grab a little bit of the red. So wipe my paintbrush so there's no paint on it. Take a little bit of red, just so that my paintbrush has a little bit on it. Okay. And I'm gonna go over that line vertically. And then move it side to side to get rid of that line. Now some colors are easier to blend than others, by the way. If you have two dark colors, so for example, if we're using blue and a green or blue and purple, they are easier to blend because they are both dark. Okay, but when you're mixing or blending a really light color with a darker one, that's when it becomes a little more difficult. So just be aware of that when you are painting. So I'm grabbing more red because I want it to blend better with the red and getting rid of that line. There. Now I'm actually going to put solid red on top because it'll still blend because it's wet. Especially these areas that I can see the paper through it. Okay. Oops. I'm going to grab a little bit more red paint. Is there There. So solid black on the right hand side. Don't worry, we're going to blend that line out. We'll get rid of that line in a minute. Okay. I'll rinse out my paintbrush so there's no solid black on it anymore. Take solid red and make more of this value. Remember when I say the word value, what am I referring to? How dark or how light it is. So I'm gonna put some paint on here first. And now I'll move towards the solid black. So you can't you can kind of tell on the camera where it goes from that burgundy to that black. But obviously the goal is to not be able to tell where it transitions. We want a smooth, gradual change from light to dark as best as we can, right? There. So as you can see, it was way easier to blend right here, that darker or burgundy red to a solid black, because they're both dark. It is harder to do it here because it's super light, and then a medium value, I guess you could say. All right.